Providence College in the Office of Undergraduate Admission. I'd like to welcome you all to our virtual session tonight. Thank you so much for spending some time and being with us. My name is Patrick Brennan. I'm one of the Assistant Deans of Admission, and I'm also a PC alum. So definitely very proud and excited to be welcoming the newest members to Friartown. We're so excited. All the hard work that you have done throughout your 4 years in high school have gotten you to this moment. And we think it's a really great opportunity to kind of showcase the School of Business. And all of you have kind of potentially shown an interest in one of the 4 majors: accounting, finance, marketing, or management. So you're here tonight to learn a little bit more about the School of Business and what they have to offer, both inside the classroom, a little bit outside the classroom as well. And there's no one better to talk about the School of Business than Jackie Elsick, who is one of the Senior Associate Deans of the School of Business. So I'm going to turn it over to her and allow her to kind of talk a little bit about the School of Business, what they have to offer. We're going to have some more question and answers at the end of Jackie's presentation, and then we're going to be followed by a current student and alumni panel of either current business students or some alums from the School of Business as well. So we're going to pack a lot into this hour that we have together. So without further ado, Jackie, the floor is yours.
Great. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for getting on with us this evening, or on with me this evening. I also want to extend my congratulations and, welcome to Friartown. And so I'm going to ask Pat if he can help me share screen so that I can share a slide deck with you. And so I have a slide deck that's prepared that kind of gives you like an overview of the presentation. And so what I can do is I'm going to give you like a high level overview of the curriculum. I'm going to then go into a little bit about student engagement, a little bit about what you can expect at the School of Business. And then I hope to leave some time for questions. So bear with me. I'm about to share it right now. Can you all see this? Patrick, can you see this?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. And I apologize. Let me go right back up to the top. Okay. So when in the School of Business, we believe that we are educating for a future based on we. And so one could say this is our tagline, but this is really what we believe. We believe that our curriculum and the experiential learning components of what we offer to students is all based around this idea of we, this idea of team, preparing you for the workplace, preparing you to be on teams, this idea of cultural agility. How do you work with people different from you? How do you work with people the same from you? So everything we do, from coursework to student engagement, is about this idea of we. And so you'll see this throughout our curriculum. And you see it even if you're in our building. We have like large educating for future based on we signs and stickers like all over the place. And so we very much fundamentally believe in this. And again, I am Dr. Jacqueline Elsick. I work here in the School of Business. And so I have a lot of oversight of the curriculum, student engagement, assurance of learning, which is part of our AACSB international accreditation. So I spend a lot of my time, working on support services and curriculum for both graduate and undergraduate students. So let me kick off with the curriculum, because I think it's really important to start there. We are a business school. I'm on the academic side, so I always like to start with the curriculum. And so when I think about our curriculum, I think about our curriculum is a pyramid or a triangle. And so we feel really proud that we are a business school on a liberal arts campus with a Dominican heritage, right? We feel really strongly that it's the best of all worlds, and that students gain so much valuable insight, the ability to engage with different learners. They're working with really challenging, thoughtful curriculum. And a lot of that comes from what we call the liberal arts, or what a lot of times we refer to as the PC core. So at other institutions, this might be Gen Ed, but here we refer to this as the PC core. And so this is a variety of courses, which I think I'll go into in the next couple of slides. Then the core business requirements, these are all the requirements every business major. And I know Pat mentioned it, but we focus on accounting, finance, management, marketing. And so every one of those majors is going to take a set of core business courses. I think of them as the foundational business courses that build upon the PC core curriculum. From there, you get into major requirements. So depending upon your major, you may have 6 to 8 additional courses specific to major. So all accounting, all finance, all management, all marketing courses that prepare you for those fields, and hopefully give you kind of a breadth of understanding of how you could even specialize in a way. All the requirements come down to being 120 credit hours to graduate. Students need to have a 2.0 cumulative GPA major, as well as I said, cumulative. And then our business students, after the first year, need to have a 2.5 GPA to continue in major. We do this because we want to set the tone from day one that academics are important. Understanding the curriculum is important, and it sets you up for some of the more competitive jobs that do really actually focus on minimum GPAs to be competitive. And so we really want to set that tone from day one that you have to have at least a 2.5. But don't worry, we do lots of messaging all throughout the first year, so it doesn't really surprise anybody. So this is our PC curriculum. So this is the core. So this is the coursework every student, every major takes across campus. And you could see it really starts with Western civilization. So students are going to take 4 courses over 2 years. So think of it as 1 per semester. And in addition to that, students take 2 theology courses, in most cases 2 philosophy courses, one of which is ethics based. And to build upon that, we feel like we have a really strong ethics curriculum in the business school. We integrate, in addition to this, ethics throughout our entire curriculum. In fact, we use this like GVV set of cases that students will see throughout the entire curriculum. And they even have the opportunity to really utilize this content and apply it to some of our case competitions I'm going to talk about in a little bit. All of our students do natural science course, at least one, social science, that's fulfilled by our micro and macroeconomics in the business school. Every student's quantitative reasoning. This is going to be your business calc class in most cases for our students, depending on your major. You have a finance requirement. And then we have these proficiencies that are part of the core. And this is going to be writing, oral communication. In the business school right now, diversity is fulfilled by our leadership and organizational behavior course, which is Management 301. And all of our students are going to have civic engagement. Some of our business curriculum, some of those courses at the very top of the pyramid, the major courses, some of them may fulfill some of these core proficiencies. That varies from major to major. This is our curriculum in a nutshell. This is the PC core. So, I think about at every AACSB accredited business school, they're going to have a similar core. And all of us have to go through very rigorous standards to maintain our core. And I promise you, since it's a pretty significant part of my role, we spend a lot of time, continuously improving and monitoring our curriculum to make sure we meet the minimum AACSB standards. And when I say minimum, I really feel very strongly we exceed those standards. But we're always looking at how do we manage our core curriculum, because this is the foundation. This is what every business student needs to walk out of Providence knowing. A little bit of data application. So, you've heard the term big data. This is where you're starting to learn a little bit about that. And I get this question a lot. I'm really interested in data analytics or business analytics. We try to integrate that throughout our curriculum, from courses like the data applications for business through to statistics. Our Finance 310 course continues to build upon that. Major coursework builds on it. And for students really interested, we have boot camps and we have additional elective courses that students can take around analytics. Again, I have a slide about this later, but I'll talk about this. We also have consulting projects that are geared around data analytics, are specific to working with a company, like a real life case, a real life set of problems, and your client is one of the local businesses, or in some cases, a national business. That just varies from semester to semester. And then students are going to take finance and accounting and business law and marketing. And then on the other side, like I said earlier, you're going to take things like econ and math and obviously statistics. And all of this is, again, our major curriculum. And so at this point, I'm going to shift a little bit to the experience, because I'm not going to deep dive into the majors. So I hope, in your free time, take a look at our website, or certainly put some information in the chat, and I can answer some more specific questions about majors. So, we're really focused on student engagement in the School of Business. We feel really strongly that when you're a student here, not only is it important to go to classes and take your coursework seriously, but you also need to be able to apply that coursework. And this is the student engagement piece. And so we create a program called the Friar Leadership and Immersion Program, and we kick this off first year. And the FLIP program is designed to really get students to explore initially, and from exploration, they move through stages to mastery. So the point is, as a first year student, you may be attending activities and events. They're helping you figure out what are the careers and industries I'm interested. I'm going to want to learn a little bit more about curriculum and my major and course selections. I need to know a little bit more about resources. I may even go to some events to learn about study abroad and internships. But then as I, mature in my experiences, I might do some more student engagement where I apply more of that to case competitions. I may do internships and part-time jobs, shadowing. I may even go to a point where in our mind, mastery might be I'm studying abroad, doing an internship in a language of the country, that is the host country that I'm going and attending classes in and engaging in my internship. That to me might be mastery, right? And so we have all these activities that lead toward really a strong application. Through this FLIP program, students also try to strengthen their competencies and skills. So they pick and choose both events and speakers and activities that are going to strengthen a set of skills. And all of this is through a platform called FIT, which is the Friar Involvement Tracker. And we partner quite a bit with career exploration on this, or career education on this. And so they have this group of activities called the Friar 4 Career Corps. And what we do is we really partner with them on the skills-based side where, students need to learn about resume writing, they need to know how to interview effectively, how do you shadow and learn more about a company, what's my elevator pitch, if I meet someone to talk to, we're partnering with them on that. And then we're adding on the more, major career speaker series kind of content that really helps them engage there. And again, this is all part of this FLIP program that starts your first year. Students can also share their dashboards with employers. And so this gives you kind of a quick overview of like FLIP and a little bit of how we partner with the career education office. But this is really, I think, a strength of our program. In a sense, it's sort of asking students to do what you should be doing, naturally exploring and figuring out career and industry and major. And we do require this program for first year students. So at the end of the year, there are FLIP points and students are required to have a minimum 250 points. I know it sounds like a lot, but everything I'm talking about is at least 10 points. And so really we're asking a student to attend 25 events, but first year advising and workshops can be, learning how to register can be part of this, information sessions, career fairs, like you name it, all of that can be part of these points. So it's really easy to accumulate points. I mean, I know what I'm going to tell you is an outlier, but we did have a student who got to roughly 2/3 of first semester and he had over 500 FLIP points. Now he was an outlier. I mean, he was really out there. And part of the reason why he was able to accumulate so many points is that we actually start the FLIP program as early as after orientation. So we have content all summer in preparation for the start of the year. Everything from, again, speakers are talking about their time at PC, their current jobs, what skills you need to be successful in their fields, to content about courses and major, as well as other resources on campus. So even over the summer, you have opportunities to really connect. And this year, we may even be exploring Excel certification over the summer. So that might be coming, folks. I'll keep you updated on that. So all of our students go through what we call a first year advising workshop. And this is a set of series of activities that, again, are around advising. And so we spend a lot of time really prepping our first year students. What I don't want is a student to go through 4 years here and not create the opportunity that they wanted, not create the portfolio they think that's going to make them a best prepared job seeker. And so we do everything starting first year, really kind of hitting that foundation hard to make sure students know what they want to do and what they want to take advantage of here, because there's so many opportunities. So we try really hard to message quite a bit first year, over and over again, repeatedly, so students have awareness of what are their opportunities, because it goes fast. If you ask our seniors, they feel like they just came on campus like last year. It really does go fast. And then we also offer for a pilot of an intro to business class for the students who really want to get course credit to do a deeper dive into competency skills, what is business, and a little bit about major and career. We have multiple clubs and organizations. I know for many of you, you're involved in your high schools. And so there are lots of opportunities, both campus wide as well as in the School of Business. So in the School of Business, we support 12 clubs, everything from the American Marketing Association to the Accounting Association to the Future Friar Executives to entrepreneurship. We have plenty of clubs, and it's also very easy to start a business school club if you have that interest. Our clubs form an advisory board, and so they give us feedback. Obviously, because we always want student feedback as we think about, quote unquote, our continuous improvement efforts, like how we make changes in the School of Business. We kick off, in addition to a campus involvement fair, a smaller scale business involvement fair. This picture is actually an involvement fair in our atrium. This was from 2 years ago. But we do this usually about 3 weeks in when students have been on campus for a little while and maybe more comfortable with their transition. Then we actually feature anywhere from 4 to 5 companies, as well as the clubs and organizations. The MBA program comes out for this, career education, study abroad, all having tables to really highlight some of the areas the students have most questions and the areas they want to get most involved in on campus. We offer a student mentor program for all the business students. This is an opportunity to be matched up with an upper class business student. And so students actually sign up for this in the first few weeks of school. We will start messaging as soon as orientation in regards to this. It's a really nice opportunity to have a more informal relationship with a student on campus who is in your business school and maybe even is your same major. We certainly strive for our students to all excel academically, but we do reward a group of students who are Honor Society, and that's our Beta Gamma Sigma group. This is our top 10% of majors, and in fact, our induction ceremony is next month on April 14th. So we're really excited to induct our newest group of Honor Society members of BGS. So I alluded to this a few times earlier, this idea of active learning. This idea of taking what you're learning in the classroom and applying it. I think this is so very important. And this is something that employers are really looking for. This idea of like a real world project. Like, how do I make a difference? How do I really take what I learn and apply it to what might be a real world setting or an actual workplace setting? What's it like to be on a diverse team? In some cases, when they're global, what's it like to work with people in different time zone and be on a more global team? So these real world projects that we offer a couple times a year are an opportunity for students to really take advantage of this opportunity to really replicate what a workplace may be. They are typically projects given to us by a company. Students work on the project all semester. They do this in a team atmosphere, and they usually present at the end of the semester their findings or their business solutions to a company. And I would tell you, in almost every case, it's been value add to the company. They've gotten a lot of really great ideas that they can execute from our students. I talked about boot camps. There are boot camps to really refresh skills over breaks. They're typically offered mostly in winter and summer. And so they're great opportunities. Lately, they've been a lot more focused on analytics, but certainly there are other opportunities through us or the School of Continuing Education. There are business certifications, and so we really encourage our students to actively pursue CPA, CFA, Treasury. And so we have some information on our website, but I'm actually working on a more cohesive web page to really showcase pathways to business, like what are some of the certifications and other things you should do depending upon the industry and field you want to go into. And so hopefully that will be launched in fall, a one-stop shop for our students, in addition to their advisors and faculty advisors, a place where they can really spend some time navigating some of the certifications and other skills and other opportunities on campus, depending upon my industry and career interests. And then we have business case competitions. Now, for the really competitive student, this is a great opportunity to showcase your skills in a competitive environment. And so we host the Michael Smith Ethics Competition twice a year. One is an internal case competition where students compete against each other in teams. The other is regional, and the regional case competition is other regional schools, sometimes national, but mostly regional schools. And this is a great opportunity to really get into a case. I was actually a judge just recently last weekend for our final case competitions, and it was about foul balls and baseball. And so it was really intriguing, really interesting. And our students did such a fantastic job. In fact, we had 2 all first year teams that really blew me out of the water. One of them came up with so many revenue generating ideas. I was so proud, mostly marketing majors. And I made a point to let the marketing department know how impressed we were with their first year marketing students. So much revenue generation. I was, again, really proud. And so many of our students think about, global business. And in a typical year, we send about 50% of our business students abroad in what either a full or semester study abroad opportunity. We, along with other partners on campus, also offer what I'm going to refer to as faculty short-term programs, which is the third to last bullet. And so our students really have this opportunity to really engage in global business. We do require students who go abroad for the semester to actually engage in a internship. There are other opportunities for students like service learning, et cetera, but we really ask our students to do an internship. We think this is a big differentiator for them. This is an opportunity to really showcase how you may have simulated, you really kind of manage like different teams or working in a different environment. It's really an opportunity to actually apply a lot of the theory about how to work in different groups and different people in an actual setting. We really think this really helps a lot of our students stand out when they talk to employers, because I think when you have this conversation with an employer about, going abroad, well, lots of students go abroad. How do you differentiate yourself? And the internship is a big differentiator. This idea that you can kind of have this elevator pitch about how you worked in a diverse workplace and had to navigate, getting to work, working in a diverse global business setting, what you learned from that and what you applied to it. I think it's a real big differentiator for us. This year, due to COVID, we offered global virtual internships, and we also engaged in a complete global speaker series, which was fantastic. In fact, I think the biggest takeaway from COVID will be that we will probably continue to have some online programming. Obviously, we're excited to move back to in-person, but there's some great speakers that we could get from like New York and California and overseas that would just be so challenging to bring to campus for like an hour talk. And so we had such great turnout at so many of our virtual talks because we were able to get these fantastic like C-suite executives, like director level people who was really easy for them to get on for an hour using Zoom. So we're really excited about those opportunities, but don't worry, we're coming back in person. We're really excited about it. And so again, we partner so much with career education. We are very focused on making sure our students are great job seekers and that they get the types of jobs that they want. We do really well when you think about our outcomes. And so when we think about our career outcomes in a typical year, over 98% of our students will have a job within 6 months of graduation. And honestly, it's roughly about 90% that are in jobs they expected to have post being here at Providence College or post their degree at PC. So we're really proud of those stats. We're at this point where almost every student does at least one internship. And now we're really working at this idea of 2 internships or at least very meaningful part-time work. And so again, we're really helping our students get this idea of like theory to practice, really engaging, not just with the curriculum, but engaging and using that and applying that knowledge to an experiential learning activity. And I get so many questions about grad programs as early as now. And so we do offer an MBA program 4+1. We're also launching this fall a master's in business analytics. That's a 1-year program for our students here at PC. And so we have a lot of great graduate opportunities as well. All right, I know that was a lot of information. And so I'm going to turn it over to Pat to kind of help me navigate any of the questions. And I will stop sharing screen as well.
Thank you so much. You really did a fantastic job. I think that it was very informative. I feel like I always learn something new when I get to the opportunity to listen to you speak. We want all of you who are listening to ask questions. So there's a question and answer function. So feel free to type your questions there. You can see it on the bottom bar, so it should be available there. If not, you can also feel free to just type them into the chat. We'll make sure we answer any of your questions that you may have, so that you are walking away tonight, feeling like you know a ton of information about the School of Business. I think one of the big things that, I was wondering if you might be able to just talk a little bit more about. I mean, I know you covered it in your talk, but I think for these students who are coming in, can you talk a little bit about, like, if I come in as a declared marketing major but want to switch to finance because I took a finance class and I absolutely fell in love with it. I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about how that works, about changing majors.
Now, that's a fantastic point. It's really easy to change majors. And so once a student, if a student enters into the business school in any of the four majors, the first year for all of our curriculums are pretty similar. Every student starts out as a first year student taking financial and managerial accounting. Either one of the 2 semesters, students are going to take the DAB class, the Accounting 113 data applications for business. Students are going to be taking Western Civ both semesters. Here's where there's a little variation. Finance majors are going to start micro and macroeconomics right away. An accounting student, likely the same. If I'm a marketing or management student, I might start that second semester, my first year or my second year. If I'm a finance major, I might even take Finance 207, which is my first finance course as early as my first year, second semester. If I'm a marketing major, I'm going to take my first marketing course first semester. If I'm a management major, I'm going to take my first management course. And so you do see a little bit of that. And we do obviously encourage all our students to take math and writing 1 the first year. But that's what a first year student typically looks like in the business school. So you can see there's a little bit of variation in that, everybody's taking accounting. So the accounting students all get their first course out of the way. But you can see like the management marketing, they go right first semester. In some cases, you may do second semester if, for example, if you declared a little bit late in the summer. Certainly, if you declared in the first semester, you'd move forward. But it's really easy to move at that point, honestly. Where it gets a little tricky is certainly going into second year and obviously junior year. Accounting's pretty tight if you don't declare it by sometime your second year, and finance can be as well. But don't worry, we have plenty of advisors to sit down and work through that. We have a team in the undergrad office as well as faculty and administrative advisors. For the student who changes major later, like say you're undeclared, maybe you're coming from a major across campus, we have what we call like intro to business workshops. And so you are required to attend one of those before you change majors. And part of that is because our curriculum is somewhat complicated and because of all the student engagement that we're going to be working with you on the FLIP program throughout the year. We do ask that you sign up and go through that program. But I would also tell you my team does something that I think is really nice. They create 4-year plans for every student who does that. So you come in to that quote unquote info session knowing this could be a sample 4-year plan with all your requirements, which I think is actually a really nice add value because then you really know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I think it kind of hits home on what we kind of emphasize at Providence, that close-knit community. The average class size is right around 20 for the most part. So having a 12-to-1 student to faculty ratio, I think really allows our students to get that level of advisement and really be able to work with them to feel like, okay, what can you accomplish in your 4 years and how can we accomplish that? And working together as a partnership. As you said, the power of we, right? And I think that's really a true testament to that. I know you talked a little bit about, and one of the students who was listening wanted to just hear a little bit more about some of the internships or relationships Providence College has with like some various companies, whether it's local, national, international. If you could just give some highlights maybe of some prominent companies that you would see.
Yep. So let me start with the easiest one, which is accounting. We work with all 4 big 4. Majority of our students, truthfully, are going New York, New Jersey, Boston. Certainly, we hear students in Connecticut and throughout the country, but certainly the majority of our students are going to one of those big 4. They're also going to a lot of what I call the regional or large, like next level tiered accounting firms like, CBiz, Wolf, BAWA, all those others. Finance is across the board, right? So we've started to build a lot of relationships with Citibank, Fidelity. We certainly will see students go to many of the other like larger financial services. We have a lot of relationship with Citizens Bank. And so, we work with our students quite a bit in the finance program. They actually take a course, Finance 210, which they take their first semester, second year, that talks about all the pathways for finance, because finance is so broad. And we have all these different pathways and certifications. And so one of the challenges with finance is, where do you go? I mean, accounting has a pretty clear cut pathway. Whereas, so many of our finance students could go anywhere. I'm interested in wealth management. I'm interested in sort of treasury, and I'm interested, what is the CFA, and all that stuff. For our other students in marketing as well as management, it's a little trickier, right? Again, they have multiple pathways. So, if I want to go to a marketing firm, we certainly have relationships with lots of marketing firms in the area here, Boston, New York, et cetera. Certainly, we see students leave marketing, and we've had students go in the insurance industry or sales from there. And there we see a lot of Travelers, Amica, Liberty Mutual. And so those are a lot of the common ones that we see. And then obviously we have some students who do like HR and some other things in the management area. Surprisingly, we've sent students to hospitals, Fidelity, et cetera. And I think there's a session on career education, so they can go to even deeper dive than I can. But certainly we send students to lots of prominent multinational companies, and occasionally see students go into startups too. They get pretty excited. And we do have a small percentage of our students that go to like nonprofits and other places, like, or what I like to say, kind of give back, and they may go and, teach abroad, or, do language skills abroad, et cetera. Does that kind of get a little bit at it?
No, I think you did a great job. And I think pre-COVID too, I think it was you would walk by the School of Business and there would constantly be companies on campus recruiting students, talking to them about internships or part-time jobs, or, their life after Providence and what they were thinking. So there is a lot that not only the School of Business does, but then our Office of Career Education does a phenomenal job as well. So they kind of work in partnership. There is that one member from the Office of Career Education who's working within the School of Business, and they're constantly available to students. So even obviously during COVID, there's still a lot of ways in which the students are utilizing those services. So I think that's really, kind of important to remember. One of the things, I know that we have opportunities to study abroad kind of all over, but do you know could you list maybe a couple of the more popular programs that you're seeing our students within our School of Business are going to?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with this. I spend a lot of my time on global education, truthfully. So our students, the most popular programs are in Europe. And it's something that we're actually trying to change the culture. We'd really like to see students go to Asia more so. And in fact, I'd like to do a shameless plug for a brand new program where we just announced this program where students spend the first 8 weeks in Sydney, and they have the option to spend the second 8 weeks at an internship in Hong Kong, Singapore, Auckland, and Sydney. And so we're really excited about that because I think it's a nice way to get a taste of being in Asia without committing to an entire 4 months. Because we used to have a Shanghai program pre-COVID, and it just never got the numbers that our Italy program, which is very popular because we have a PC in Rome program. Our second most popular Italy program is Milan, which I love the Milan program personally. I'm a little biased because on a short-term program, we did global luxury brands, and the same company took us to Ferrari and Lamborghini. So I will always be indebted to them because those might have been the quote unquote coolest company visits I'd ever been on. I actually walked away thinking, man, I could use a Lamborghini, but obviously I might be a little out of the budget, right? Other locations are extremely popular right now, and they flip year to year. Barcelona is very popular for next year. Dublin's very popular for next year. Prague has become somewhat popular destination for us as well. And then honestly, we have students going all over Europe. We used to offer an Argentina program, but post-COVID, I'm not sure that's going to come back. I hope there'll be interest.
That's perfect. Yeah. And I think there's even, more opportunities to kind of learn on our website to talk, and you continue to kind of pursue. A lot of our students are studying abroad during your junior year. So you have a little bit of time if you choose to come to Providence, to kind of navigate and go to some information sessions and really see, okay, what's the best fit for you and the best place for you to go to. Do you want to do a homestay? Do you want to live with other American, other US students who are living abroad? At the same time? Do you want to do a semester, a full year program, summer, the shorter options that, you were talking about before? So there's definitely some really, great opportunities that kind of exist there. So I have one last question for you before we're going to turn it over to some of our current students and our alums. And it's kind of goes back a little bit to the course sequence, I guess. And it's, if you could just touch upon, are students able to double major? And if they don't double major, like, or even if they do, like, how do electives kind of fit into a student's schedule? And if they want to double major, how would that work?
So I think of double majoring is two types of double majoring. There's double majoring in the business school. So I'm like finance and accounting, or maybe I'm double majoring. And I think I saw this as an example, finance and math, which by the way, I think is a fantastic combination, by the way, especially if you want to go to some of the most competitive financial services jobs. They love seeing math and quants. They also like seeing computer science and surprisingly physics. And I think that really just ties to the fact that a lot of finance is very quantitative now. So they're really looking for that student who kind of understands the numbers, even sometimes more so than the business side, right? They could teach that a little bit more than they can, the skill of being quantitative and thoughtful. And so, yeah, you'd work with your first year advising team or your faculty advisor. You'll have guidebooks that have outlines of all the different majors and minors. And so, I really encourage students to create this like 4-year curriculum over and over again, where you can kind of look at the sequence of courses, between two different majors. And so I think it's relatively easy, but you have to be thoughtful in your planning. I mean, certainly it's easier to add a minor, but there are a lot of students that learn this concept of what I call double dipping. That's the student slang, which is like I use a course to count for more than one requirement. We hear this a lot, and I get it. I want to be efficient too, so I'm totally proud of students who figure these out, either through me or on their own. Electives are a little trickier, right? If I'm an accounting major, I've limited electives unless I'm going toward 150 hours in my 4 years versus continuing on to do graduate work or other coursework. The other 3 majors, yes, it's everywhere from 1 course to 3 courses that you have free electives, major electives. And then depending upon where you are in your 120 credit hours, you may also have free electives. One of the document I was talking about earlier in the website that's going to have pathways is going to have suggestions on coursework. So again, when you sit down with your faculty advisors, they always have lots of suggestions for you. But we're going to put this out and be more transparent on our website of this is some of the coursework you should take if you're thinking about sales, if you're thinking about digital marketing, right, or digital communications, or maybe you're thinking about being a chartered financial analyst. Here's some of the coursework I would take as I prepare for CFA level 1 exam. And what is CFA level 1 exam? We'll put all of that out there. So I do think for a lot of our students who are pretty ambitious, and I really applaud that, double majoring is definitely an option. And I always say utilize all your electives. That's what you're here for. Explore what you're interested in.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Elslake. Really appreciate you spending some time with us tonight, talking a little bit more in depth about the School of Business. And we're going to kind of shift gears now, and we're going to have some of our current students have the opportunity to join us and talk a little bit about their experiences within the School of Business so that they can kind of share some more information about some of the things that they've been able to do while they've been here on campus, maybe talk a little bit about their majors, some internships that they have done. So we're going to have them join us. And we also have an alum who's going to be joining us as well to kind of reflect a little bit about their time at Providence College, but then to also talk a little bit about some of the things that they've been doing, now that they are quote unquote in the real world, as they say. So what we're going to do, and hopefully we'll have all of our panelists join us now on the screen, and we're going to have them introduce themselves, but then we will also turn around and keep answering questions. So please keep asking questions through the question and answer section. This is really an opportunity to talk to some current students and to talk to the alum perspective and try to get everything answered over these next 20 minutes that we have together. So why don't we begin with some introductions? I'm going to start with our current students. So why don't we start with your name, where you're from, what year you are, if you have a a major and a minor, double major. And we'll start with that information just to kind of get going, and then we'll turn it over to the alum to share some information about him as well. So Kristen, why don't you start us off?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Kristen Moran, and I am a junior finance major with a writing minor, and I'm from Chatham, New Jersey.
Perfect. How about you, Jared?
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Jared DeBella. I'm a current junior here at Providence College. I'm from Haverhill, Massachusetts, and I'm a marketing major.
Joseph, final current student on the panel for tonight.
Hi, everybody. My name is Joseph Adebaega. I'm a junior marketing and finance double major from Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
And now for our alum.
Hey, everybody. My name is Ben Portugal, PC alum. I'm from Rouse's Point, New York, upstate, and I majored in marketing, minored in finance. Ben,
what year did you graduate?
I graduated PC class of 2020. So yeah, last year.
All right, fantastic. So like I said, we have a great group of students, and Ben as the alum to kind of talk a little bit about tonight about their experiences within the School of Business. So I think one of the things that I after listening to Dr. Elsick kind of talk a little bit about some of the opportunities that kind of exist within the School of Business, I was wondering, for our current students or even for Ben, did all of you come in as a declared business major, or did some of you come in as a undeclared student and transition into the School of Business? What was that like, for you all? Jared, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, so definitely for me, I did not come in as a business student. I actually was committed to Providence College as a biochemistry student. So up until spring semester of my sophomore year, I was biochem. And for me, what really triggered the response for me to want to switch into the business school was seeing how my roommates really enjoyed the material that they were learning in their class. And we'd be at the library, and my roommate, who was also a marketing major, would show me some of the stuff that he was doing. I was like, oh, that seems like pretty interesting. Like I could definitely see myself doing something like that after I graduate. And it's not that I didn't like biochemistry at all. I had amazing professors. It just wasn't the right fit for me. And so I made that switch over to the business school spring semester of my sophomore year. And I switched over to the marketing program, and it's been absolutely amazing. When I did switch over, I did have to go to a few different programs to officially get into the business school, but it was very easy to do so. The people who helped me transition in were very helpful, so it was great.
Awesome. How about you, Kristen?
So I came into Providence as a finance major. I knew that I really liked numbers, so I thought it would be something that would be interesting for me to try, and I've loved it ever since. I know Dr. Elsick talked a little bit about like that first year advising program, and I loved every single, I think it was Wednesday, I got to go meet with all the other finance majors, and we had different professors cycle in and kind of tell us about the different like fields in finance that you could go into. So that definitely kept me in the program, and I've loved it ever since. I've had a great experience.
Perfect. Joseph?
For me, I came into PC declared management because as a high school senior, I had applied to every other school business undeclared, and Providence College was the only one that I couldn't apply business undeclared. So I was kind of like worried on the application. I was just like, I figure I want to do business. I just don't know exactly what discipline. And I was a bit worried that like maybe not selecting a business major might like decrease my chances of getting in. So I kind of just went with the randomizer in my head, and I was like, I guess I'll go with management. And I came into management feeling like if there was anything at PC School of Business that was close enough to business undecided, that for me, the way I was thinking, it would be management. So I came in management. I took the management 101 courses, but also I guess the cool thing about the makeup of our business program and our business studies is that as a freshman and a sophomore, everybody is taking the intro level classes in all the disciplines. So I took a management 101, but I was also taking the intro levels for accounting and then marketing and finance. So I got to like at least be exposed to all the disciplines, and I was able to eventually make a decision and come to a conclusion that it would be marketing and finance as a double, as something that I was more interested in than strictly management.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate it. That's a good question. Yeah, to go off of Joseph's point, I came in as a marketing major, but I thought that my chances would decrease if I came in undecided. That's not the case. But I came in as a marketing major because I took a marketing class in the senior year of my high school, and I really fell in love with it. Well, it really came easy to me too. And then I just went to PC and stuck through it. There were times though where I did consider switching majors, and I did switch majors. Actually, I went to psychology, and then I realized psychology was too hard for me. So then I switched back to marketing, and here I am now. So yeah.
So Dr. Elslick talked a lot about like engaged learning, right? Whether it's through internships, case competitions. Have any of you, when you were a student at Providence or when you're a current student at Providence, have you talked about or have you completed an internship?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So actually, this past winter, starting in November, I had a social media marketing internship with Boston Event Guide, and what was so great about it was that the Career Center at Providence College really helped me find that internship through different Friar connections who are in the greater Boston area. And what was so amazing about having this internship was that I was able to apply different concepts that I was learning in the class with really, figuring out how to engage like with target audiences and figuring out who I'm marketing towards and who's really going to want to see the different products and services that this company was offering. So it was really awesome to see the different things that I'm learning in my different marketing classes applied to the internship that I was taking. And at this internship, it was so awesome just to really be able to see how a real company works and how I was able to interact with different people among different levels. I was on the intern level, obviously, but I was communicating with my bosses who are a few levels above me, and then with some people in the accounting branch that they had as well. So it was really great being able to see everything put into action.
I can go next. I think some of my favorite activities here at Providence have actually been outside of the classroom with like a lot of the engaged learning that the business school provides. So one of my favorite activities that I did, it was called Wall Street Boot Camp, and it happened second semester of sophomore year. And we essentially were given a packet to prepare. So we had to prepare all of our personal questions. And then we also had a list of about like 15 technical questions. And I think there was about 15 sophomore finance majors, and we went in on a Saturday morning. And there were, I think, 15 PC alums that worked in all of the different big banks. So like Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo. And we basically went through 8 different rounds of interviews like you would in a super day when you're interviewing for a bank. And I think that was the biggest preparation tool for me personally, because now I can go into an interview and I've had so many previous experiences, and from that Wall Street boot camp I got the best feedback from the alums because they just want to see you succeed. So I've actually had an internship this past summer at a small RIA firm in like near my town in New Jersey, and then this summer I'm going to be at Consumer and Investment Management Division at Goldman Sachs in New York City. So I'm super excited about that, and PC definitely helped me get to that point through the Wall Street boot camp. And then we also did a New York City finance career track sophomore year. So I got to go be on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange and like watch the bell ring. And we got to meet with a bunch of different PC alums that worked there. And then we also got to go to Goldman Sachs, which is super cool because I'm going to be there this summer. So that kind of helped solidify like where I wanted to be and how to make connections with all of the alums in the financial field.
Like that's such a great full circle type of thing for you, right? And to have that experience as a sophomore and then now to be going back there this summer, which is fantastic. How about you, Joseph?
So this past summer, I actually interned virtually with EY. For those who don't know, EY is one of the big 4 accounting firms, but I'm not an accounting major. So for some people, when I say that outright, it's kind of interesting. The marketing and finance double major helped me kind of like navigate my way towards the consulting division of EY. And I think like being here and like having that exposure helped me be able to like identify what it is that I want. And I remember telling the recruiter, like the campus recruiter for PC from EY, I was just like, I've taken financial and managerial accounting. I really don't see myself doing audit or tax. So I don't see a reason why I should, switch my major to accounting if I don't really want to do it. But I said like their advisory, now consulting division was something that was kind of interesting to me. And it was really interesting. This past summer, I was speaking with a partner, and he had told me that like if he was advising people to kind of like do a like a pre-consulting track in their undergrad, that he would tell them to go with the marketing of finance double major or a combination of major and minor. So like having that experience and having the professors that I had here just helped me understand certain things that I didn't know coming out of high school. Like I told people who would ask, I was just like, Joseph as a high school senior was not ready to accept the internship offer from EY, but Joseph as a college freshman at PC was definitely ready to do that application. And then I also saw certain things translate from every different part. I had to do different case studies as part of like the interview and application process. They had me do like a certain business plan as one of the intern projects that I had done in my marketing buyer behavior class, and had certain of the numbers aspect that I had seen come from my accounting and finance courses. So everything just kind of like came together. And while doing that, it's more on like the financial side, but they also have like Kristen talked about like the career tracks. They also have like the alumni shadowing. And so while exploring like the more financial services aspect of my major, I was able to also connect with marketing alumni and just figure out what it is in advertising and sales and things of that nature.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, to emulate off Kristen's point, I think it's fairly crucial to pursue activities outside of your formal education. You know, there's always more opportunities to apply your knowledge base. I've had a plethora of internships starting in 2018. I did Waterfire Providence, which is a nonprofit organization that's fairly popular in Providence, Rhode Island. I worked in an R&D firm based out of Japan, but in North Kingston, Rhode Island, as a marketing intern. 2018 in the summer, I had a cultural agility internship through Student Affairs, which was really when I switched gears mentally and started focusing more on pursuing these other opportunities outside of class. And then I was part of this year-long program, which was also outside of PC's realm, called College Leadership Rhode Island. And that was probably one of my most memorable experiences, just because it offered me, you know, a network to meet new leaders across the state of Rhode Island. It offered me lifelong friends, you know, an opportunity to really hone my strengths and capitalize on that. And then also practice public speaking, being the class speaker for my commencement speech and for my graduating class. But yeah, I really do highly encourage that, you know, you take the initiative to pursue these opportunities outside of PC, because, you know, what you learn in the class is great, but if you can apply what you learn outside of PC in these, you know, different organizations or internships, it will not only help you, but it will expand your knowledge a little bit more.
Yeah, that's perfect, Ben. And actually, we have a question that's kind of tied to it. It's specifically for you. Someone asked, you know, how do you feel Providence College prepared you for post-college life? So how would you kind of respond? I mean, I know you kind of just did a little bit, but I wasn't sure if there's anything else you wanted to add.
Yeah, no, Pat, that's a great question, and thank you for asking that, and whoever brought that up. But I think PC has done a really good job preparing me for life post grad. You know, you really learn in school, you know, how to with the liberal arts program and business conjunctively. It really helps a lot just to understand how to be an analytical thinker and how to be a strategic thinker at that. I think liberal arts definitely helps with business and pairs well together. And, you know, going off of the whole thinking track and how to think, it really just prepares you, or PC really prepares you to, you know, reach out and make connections. I think 85% of jobs are made through connections. So, you know, it's just, you know, really important to reach out to your network, really take initiative, and keep yourself engaged, you know, both inside the classroom and outside the classroom.
Yeah, which I think is really fantastic advice. You know, we always talk about the opportunities that students will have at Providence College to make connections and to form relationships, whether it's with current students, alumni, professors. So I wanted to ask, you know, the four of you right now, is there a, you know, someone, a professor or an advisor that you had, or someone else that was like a true mentor, or maybe you just like your favorite professor and your favorite class, you know, during your time at Providence?
So yeah, for me, I'm really enjoying my current marketing class I'm in right now. I'm taking integrated marketing communications with Professor Letourneau. And what's so awesome about this class is that we've been working on a semester-long project regarding a general store in Vermont and just really trying to gather in donations for the store and really engage consumers with the publicity of the store. So what's been so awesome about this class was that we get to work in a group all semester long with 5 students and really get to see what it takes to help distribute good PR and good advertising for business so that people are encouraged and feel enticed to donate to a cause that we're so passionate about. So it's just been really cool to see that whole process. And along the whole process, we've been introduced to some of the networks and connections that Professor Letourneau has outside of this project. So I've actually been introduced to a connection that she had in the San Francisco area who I was fortunate enough to be able to interview with at an advertising job. Luckily I did get it, but unfortunately I won't be able to do it because I will be living in Providence this summer and it is not remote. So it was still nice that I really had that opportunity. But that just goes to show that professors really are there to help you make those connections, and they really do want to see you succeed not only in the classroom, but outside the classroom as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Jared. I mean, San Francisco would have been awesome though, not gonna lie. I'm sure
I know, it would have been so cool. I'm gonna go there as soon as I graduate, but I need to make it there first.
All right, next year. So we'll see.
I can go next. It's so hard to choose because PC has so many great faculty members. And what's great about a lot of our faculty members is they're actually practitioners. So they work during the day and they're still managing portfolios and dealing with clients, but then they come to PC for their afternoons and teach us, which is really great because you really get that relevant experience. So one of my favorite professors is Dr. Lu Wang, and I had her for investments, and a really cool project that we did was we managed like an equity portfolio. But every single round, when we screened the stocks, when we actually invested the money, halfway through the project, at the end of the project, she actually had industry mentors come in and we presented a PowerPoint to them, and they would give us real-time like investment advice like as they would to their own clients. So we got real world application, and we also got real world advice to kind of go forward and like decide how we want to manage our portfolios. And then another professor that I really love, I have this semester, and actually Joseph's in my class, is Professor McMahon. And he's worked so many different jobs. This morning he went on a whole like kind of story about one of his investment banking days at Morgan Stanley, but they give really great relevant advice, and they have so many different connections to the financial community, kind of what Jared was saying, that they're willing to introduce you to anyone and kind of help you make those connections to industry leaders.
Perfect. Go ahead, Joseph.
I'll go off it because me and Kristen do have Professor McMahon together, and he's definitely one of my favorites that I've had. He has a story for just about every section of every chapter of something that he can talk from his experience. And I also had Professor Letourneau for integrated marketing communications last semester, and Dr. Wang this semester. So you kind of see the similarities of some of the more popular professors, or just like a trend of that. Like our professors here have tons of experience and they're willing to share it and share their network with us. I was speaking with Professor McMahon after class on Wednesday about an alum that's at Oliver Wyman right now that he said would be coming in next month to speak to us. So just that they're always willing to share their network. And like Kristen said, like I find it pretty difficult just to pick one. I feel like every semester I have one that I'm kind of like, I really like this professor. But if I go back to like my freshman year, Professor Peterson that I have for financial and managerial accounting was someone who I really enjoyed as a professor. Just for her as a professor, she always went above and beyond for the students. She was always in working till like 9 p.m. some nights, and I think she taught a session at like 9:30. So if you think of someone being on campus from 8 to 9, just teaching and helping students try to understand the material, that was something like for me as a student, it made me want to work hard for the professor. Just because when you see a professor work so hard, you kind of feel bad when you're not studying or when you're missing their homework assignments. And she almost convinced me to switch to accounting. So I think that speaks to the relationship I had with that professor, when she was able to convince me not only to take her second semester for managerial after financial, but to be very, very close to considering accounting and switching to that major. And then Dean Horn, who's been my marketing advisor, I'd met him the summer before my freshman year, before freshman fall started, and he's now my marketing advisor. And he's just like from the jump, from freshman fall on, he was helping me like navigate the marketing department and how I should go about it, if I plan on declaring that major, if I want to turn into a minor, if I don't want to do anything with marketing at all, as well as just like passing along any opportunity that he sees might be of interest to me or that I should consider thinking about. And I think it was Dean Horn that told me about the American Marketing Association, which is where I ended up meeting Ben my freshman year, when he was on the exec board for that association. So they're always sharing just opportunities and just trying to get you to expand your horizons and think about different opportunities, both on campus as well as off campus and in the real world.
Perfect.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, Joseph, I do remember that. I do remember you, so don't worry about that. But I think mentorship is a two-way street that involves those in your network. One mentor that I had, former Dean Quincy Beverly, now Assistant Vice President of Cultural Diversity. This was back in 2018 during my summer internship with him. It was a real change in my life, and that's when the real change in my life happened. I was awarded the first opportunity to work with him during the internship, and I attended a leadership program at URI to implement my learnings into PC's culture. The leadership program taught me about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s principles and philosophies on nonviolence, conflict, and resolution. And, my advice for mentorship would, don't just wait for a professor to engage you to be your mentor. It's sort of up to you to take the initiative to create these connections, like what Jared, Kristen, and Joseph said. Some professors that I really took a keen interest in was one in the management department, Dr. John Shibler. He offered several suggestions on what to do, and he helped strengthen my interest in management while concurrently attending my year-long leadership program, College Leadership Rhode Island. I'm just really grateful to him for making me feel at ease to discuss issues and point me in the right direction. Another professor I had in the marketing department, Dr. Scott Wright, he molded me into an analytical and strategic thinker. Yes, marketing is not only about sales, but a combination of things that involves the product, price, place, and promotion of the products. I believe the knowledge of marketing pulls together the entire understanding of business, so yeah.
Fantastic. So we have time for one last question, and my last question to kind of bring this all together, because I think you guys really did a fantastic job talking, about some of your unique experiences. Some of them are kind of similar, or, some of them about your internships, or even, Ben kind of reflecting on his time at Providence College, I think has really been a fantastic opportunity for our attendees to kind of listen to. So my last question is kind of open-ended, and it's, what advice would you give our admitted students who are sitting at home right now listening to this presentation or this session, to help them maybe either decide to come to Providence College, or just in general, like what advice would you give them as they're entering in to college and they're possibly thinking about studying business?
For me, I would say definitely just go with what your gut's telling you to do. I know I'm the type of person who changes my mind and sometimes cannot make a decision for the life of me. So I wasn't intending on coming to Providence College when I was touring schools. My father was the person who convinced me to apply to PC, so he does not let me live it down that I absolutely love it here. But yeah, so long story short, I love Providence College. I won't get into it that much, but definitely go with your gut feeling. When you know something feels right, just listen to your gut. As I said, I've changed my mind on a bunch of things many times. Thought I wanted to be a doctor, then I changed my mind, thought I wanted to go into broadcasting. Now I really want to go into advertising. So what's really great about being a student here at Providence College is that no matter how many times I've changed my mind, there's always been the resources and support there to really help me get to where I see myself going in the future. And I think that really just goes to show how strong the Friar community is here at Providence College, that you always are going to have that support system, and they're never going to look at you when you're changing your mind 1,000 times, because I've gone to many different advisors and all of them have been really great and really supportive. So it's a really great community here.
Perfect. Thank you, Jared.
I would say honestly, like throw yourself into like all of the activities that possibly interest you. I know like given such PC, such a small school, and we have so many different like activities on campus, you have the opportunity to get involved in a variety of different things. So like on most nights, like I'll go from like the gym where I'll do like a fitness class, then I'll go to student-led asset management, which is our student managed portfolio open to all grades, and then I'll go to dance club. So you just have the opportunity to get involved in so many different things, and that's how you meet a lot of your friends on campus, besides from like your floor mates, just by getting involved in things that kind of interest you, and it helps you kind of figure out like what you want to do. And I know like at least for student-led asset management, like that helped me realize that I wanted to kind of like manage a portfolio. So just by like allowing yourself to do things that interest you, you'll kind of help you figure out your path in life.
Great advice, Kristen.
For me, first of all, congratulations all on being admitted and navigating this decision and what type of role we got right now. And if it's PC or if it's anywhere else, I would say my advice is just be open, and make the most of the experience wherever it is. Like the advice that Jared, Ben, Kristen, Dr. Elsick, and Pat have mentioned on this call, it doesn't only apply to PC, it can go anywhere. We would love for it to be PC, obviously, or we wouldn't be on this call. And then as it pertains to studying business, I think is run your race. Everybody kind of moves at a different speed and at a different level. And being in the business school, we have 4 like major disciplines, and those major disciplines offer things like internships and full-time positions at very different, timelines. So like you might have a friend who's getting an internship or working this part-time job as a freshman. And I would just say be patient and keep working hard towards when your time comes, and just stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
That's great, Joseph.
Yeah, and just to go off and expand off of Joseph's point, just be open to all opportunities presented. Even if it's like something that you want to go with a friend to, or just an interest, a general interest, definitely do it. Like I said, I think it's up to you to take the initiative to actively reach out to alumni. I did that on my own, reaching out to people on LinkedIn to hear their insights and learn from them. Hopping on a phone call with alumni, that really goes a long way. I've done that multiple times, and I've met them for at coffee shops, and when I see them again, I think it'll definitely help, and it'll probably bring a smile to their face too, knowing that you reached out. Because PC alumni, go Friars. But also don't forget to have fun along the way. You just have to put in the work and challenge yourself to attain your goals.
That's great advice, I think, from all of you, right? And I think that's the most important thing that we can kind of leave with you tonight, is just to know that you're never alone in Friartown. Like, you're always going to be supported no matter what it is that you're hoping to accomplish, both inside the classroom and outside the classroom over your 4 years at PC. If you choose to call Friartown, your next home for the next 4 years. So we really appreciate you taking the time to listen to us tonight. We hope that we were able to provide some, great in-depth experiences from our current students, from Ben as the alum perspective, but then also from Dr. Elsick, talking a little bit more about what the School of Business represents and what's available to students. So hopefully you all are walking away tonight feeling more excited about the opportunities that exist from the School of Business, and have all of your questions answered. I'm going to drop my email address into the chat function. If you have any other questions, though, feel free to reach out to me. More than happy to kind of talk a little bit further, or to connect you with any of our panelists, or even Dr. Elsick, to answer any other questions that might occur after the fact. So thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Congratulations once again, and we hope to see you in Friartown soon. So thank you all, and have a great night.
Thanks, guys.